News Talk 820 WBAP. It's Ernie and Hal, and we welcome to the program Matthew Hathaway. He's a cybersecurity expert. An interesting headline: most attackers need less than 10 hours to find weaknesses.
You know what I think?
What's that?
I think instead of doing this, introducing him, he should have hacked into our program and snuck in on the air with us.
He could have just walked in the door.
Exactly.
That's how simple it would be to get in here. Matthew, welcome to WBAP.
Thanks for having me.
It seems like no matter what security is put in place, somebody's going to be able to beat it. Is that accurate?
I mean, it really is. The concept is, unfortunately, that we have to be online as a business, right? You have to have your website. You have to have ways that your customers reach you. So, taking that in mind, that's what attackers are often looking for, is finding any one weakness, and no security tool takes you away from the public.
Do you think businesses have finally started to recognize that this is a real issue?
Yeah, I think ransomware has really made it very clear to people. They see their competitor go out of business because of a ransomware attack.
When you pick a password for something, should you use your own password that you make up, or should you use that hieroglyphic that comes with sometimes, that they send, say, use that one? What's the best route on that?
Actually, the best suggestion I've ever seen that I try to use is a passphrase. Make it not just one word, but a couple of words that together really make sense to you and you remember. And that makes it longer, easier for you to remember, but harder to guess.
Matthew Hathaway with us, cybersecurity expert.
Okay, Matthew, I've got a question for you. This is one for the ages, and I bet you can't answer it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Where do you keep passwords? I knew that would get that laugh. I knew it.
Well, believe it or not, I suggest to those people that have trouble remembering, like family, that you write it down in a notebook in your drawer. The chances that somebody that gets into your house is there to try and, compromise your computer are very slim. They're not the same people. So if you're having trouble remembering, you don't want to put it, just don't leave it in an Excel spreadsheet on your laptop, please.
I think I know the answer to this question too. How about putting them in notes on your phone?
Yeah, not a great idea.
Uh-huh.
It's a little safer. It's a little safer than your laptop though, because your phones generally are harder to compromise multiple applications. But still, I think just writing them down physically is probably your best bet if you're really struggling.
Matthew, curiosity, because I read all the time we got some bad actors out there, state actors now. North Korea, for example, they've managed to break into Bitcoin, and that seems to be supplying them with cash that they need. I'm curious where this all goes from here. If you have state resources going to figure out ways to break into other people's systems, how does this ever get better?
Yeah, unfortunately, the way things are now, and pretty much the U.S. government has recognized this with recent executive orders this year, is you have to assume you will get compromised. And the plan for an organization, for a business, should be, if we're compromised, how do we make sure our really sensitive information is separate from everything else? How do we just make sure that when they get in, because they will, that we're safe from the, what taking us out of business?
What do you do?
Zero trust is the name of the real principle, the architecture people are using, making sure that when somebody's on the network, they can't access everything there is available. And that's really what has been the trusted way to move forward for organizations today. And it was a part of the executive order for the government as well.
Matthew, is it possible? I always wonder when I read stories that the IRS has been compromised, the Department of Defense has been compromised, missile silos get compromised. Why do we have stuff that's sensitive like that even available online? If somebody can take down your power grid, that's a real problem.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And a lot of things are not online, despite what we've heard and how a gas pipeline can be taken down. Some of these attacks are very, very sophisticated and took years to take hold. But a lot of our critical infrastructure, there is a great deal of people out there making sure that they're separate from the public internet. It's just still, if you need to update those pieces of infrastructure, apply new software, that's just this little tiny gap that they find a way in sometimes.
What is the easiest way people can actually break into your system? What is the way that we overlook?
It's almost always, unfortunately, phishing. It's almost always somebody clicks a link in an email that just looks like it's their boss who's angry, right? So their boss is, this is due yesterday. Why didn't you do something? Somebody falls for it, clicks a link. Now they have access. That is the most successful way for an attacker to get
That's
in.
a great answer, because we go through phishing drills or whatever you want to call it here through our company. That is about probably the number one way that people get in on things.
Yeah, and you just take advantage of somebody wanting to do their job, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we get so many angry emails from the folks above us.
Yeah,
So
I'm telling you, that's our boss.
got that
exactly,
going for us.
yeah.
Matthew Hathaway is a cybersecurity expert. Matthew, we'll have you back. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.